life, so I'm pretty loud. I'm gonna try to do this with the microphone, but I don't know if I necessarily need it. If I'm too loud, just give me a signal. So I'm really excited to be here, and even more excited to join a faculty in a community that has an event at a pub. So this is not what we do in Irvine, so this is really exciting. So thank you for bringing me on board here. So I just want to show you a picture of this gymnasium. I grew up in this gymnasium. My dad was a high school basketball coach, and I spent every Friday and Saturday night in this gym from about the age of 2 until about the age of 22. I would go to every game when I would come home from college, and it was very fun and exciting. And as a youngster, my dad would, every Friday, Saturday, we'd go to the game, and on Sunday, I'd hop in the car with him, and we would drive to the town next door, and he'd have these silver scrolls, and it ended up that those were film. We were the first house, I think, in the block to get a VHS recorder, and on Sunday afternoons, he would spend the day watching tape of his team and trying to figure out how to improve the basketball team. He'd take notes and try to figure out what clips to show and so on. So I've always tried to figure out how it is that I've gotten into the work that I do, and I do a lot of work with video. And it turns out that video is used in lots of professions. It's used in lots of sports professions. It's used in medicine. It's used to help clinical psychologists become better at their jobs. So it's actually quite innovative, the things that they're doing now. We've got these really cool web-based platforms that you can do tagging and annotating and talking together. So nowadays, video is like everywhere, as we all know, with our TikTok and our phones, and we're documenting our lives all the time. So I asked the question, how might video be used to improve math instruction, just like it's used to improve basketball players, soccer players, tennis players, doctors, physicians, and so on. Now I want to talk about why I think about this in math education in particular. Those who are math educators in the room might know that I actually didn't teach math. I taught high school English and communication. Why in the world would she be doing this work in math education? And I got into this work years ago because there was a shift in focus from more like facts and procedures in math teaching and learning to creating discourse-rich classrooms. And I thought, well, as an English teacher, we do this all the time. What would it look like to do this in a math classroom? How can we help teachers learn to take kids' ideas seriously? That was sort of the beginning. And as I've been doing this work, I've also come to learn and appreciate that math plays this really important and significant role in being a gatekeeper to who can pursue more advanced careers later in their lives. So when I think about this, then we start to see, well, who gets to do that? And we see these persistent inequities in math education for people particularly from racial, gender, linguistic, neurodivergent, and socioeconomic groups. So we need to start asking, how can we change those opportunities for kids? And how might using video help teachers get better at what they do? Those are the kinds of questions that I'm asking. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about some of the work I've done and where I'm headed. So one of the ways I do this is I've organized and created and done a lot of work around video clubs. Video clubs are a lot like a book club. Instead of reading a book and coming together and talking about it, people watch video from teachers' classrooms, come together and they talk about it. But the difference is we don't feature the teacher. We feature the kids and the interesting ideas that they're thinking about. And it turns out that when we do that, we help teachers learn how to talk about those videos. They actually talk differently about kids thinking in the classroom. So how can we get that to be adopted more widely is something I'm asking now. We've also done some work with teachers. It turns out that one reason why those inequities persist is because we all walk around, we do things by habit, and it's very hard to break those habits and to see those habits. So we've worked with teachers where we videotape in their classrooms and we do what we call a noticing interview, and we sit down with them and we talk with them about what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing, and they start to begin to unearth and unveil a lot of habits that drive their teaching that they didn't know were there. And once they see that and they become aware of that, then they start to say, how can I disrupt those things and change that? So these little noticing interviews, sitting together with teachers, talking about their teaching, they love it, and it can be transformative. And then it turns out, as I mentioned, there's all these video tagging tools. We're starting to think about how teachers can tag, capture, self-capture, tag their own videos and bring them to groups of teachers. And now we're starting to ask, How might AI help us identify interesting segments? That's more emerging work, and we got to train AI maybe to do that. I'm a little dubious, but I'm curious to see what it can do. And I think it will help us think about selecting clips and can ask teachers, invite them to ask, what does it look like for me to teach math for understanding, and how can I create more positive relationships with students in my math classroom? And lastly, I'm very excited about some work I'm doing now. I've been working with the Orange County Department of Education because I've been partnering with them for some time. We now want to cultivate their teacher leaders who can then be doing work in schools, doing the same kind of work that we've been doing kind of in small scale, to now develop teacher leaders both at the county level, at the district level, and at the school level. I also have been in partnership with Anaheim Union High School District. I hope to develop relationships with schools here and teachers here to bring some of that work. And lastly, I've been in conversations already with Rachel and others with the Math Project, folks at the Science Project, and hopefully I'm going to be talking with people in the Teacher Ed program to think about if and how we might use video to be supporting teacher learning in those contexts as well. I hope that was under 8 minutes, and I'm really excited to get to the topic.